Lilith was the first woman to be created before Eve, Adam's first wife, God's mistake. In the roots of Mesopotamian mythological civilization, where the earliest accounts of mankind took shape, we find the story of Lilith, an entity linked to night, mystery, evil, feminine power, and protection. Her story is intertwined with that of God and man, being both revered and feared. In this video, we will know a little better the story of Lilith. Subscribe and activate notifications if you want to support me and continue watching videos like this. Imagine learning something new every day without having to sacrifice your time to get it. The most important information is found in extensive books of several pages, and I understand that it can be frustrating, either because you are lazy to read, because you have children, or because your work demands a lot from you. Luckily today, this problem has an easy solution. With a catalog of more than 90,000 titles, Audible gives you the ability to consume your audiobook without an internet connection, wherever and whenever you want. Audible gives you a free audiobook every month with the monthly subscription, so it's the same as if you were buying a book a month. And best of all, if you cancel your monthly, the books will remain stored in your library forever. Win your first audiobook with the 1-month free trial in the link below in the description, and if you already have Amazon Prime, you will receive 3 months totally free. The oldest records we have about the figure of Lilith take us to the ancient Mesopotamian civilizations, where her presence is widely documented in myths and legends recorded in cuneiform writings from regions such as Sumer, Assyria, and Babylon. In the context of the religion of this era, Lilith was understood and represented as a spirit or even a demon. In ancient Mesopotamia, Lilith is often referred to as a deity associated with wind and night. Her abode is considered to be the uninhabited and dark world, the remote and desolate places where the unknown dwelled. She is attributed with demonic characteristics and is often seen associated with other night spirits and demons, who represent a dangerous and untamed form of femininity. Lilith is interconnected with other prominent female figures in Mesopotamian mythology, such as Ishtar, who was originally worshipped in Sumer as Inanna, the chief goddess of love, beauty, desire, fertility, war, justice, and political power. She was later called Ishtar by the Akkadians, Babylonians, and Assyrians. Lilith is mentioned twice in Tablet 12 of the Epic of Gilgamesh, an Akkadian epic narrative of Sumerian poems from 2100 BC. In some texts, Lilith is described as residing in the Hulupu tree, a tree that the goddess Inanna planted in her sacred garden, until Gilgamesh, the famous king and hero, drives her out. Inanna discovers a seed and nurtures it until it grows into a mighty tree. But this tree soon becomes the target of 3 entities: a serpent, a bird, and the goddess Lilith. Seeking help, Inanna turns to Gilgamesh, who manages to scare off the intruders by shaking the tree vigorously. After freeing the tree from these threats, Gilgamesh uses its wood to build a throne for Inanna. As a token of gratitude, Inanna gives Gilgamesh a drum, an instrument with which he would later summon the warriors. The artistic representations of Lilith during this period are quite varied. Some present her as a beautiful woman, while others choose to accentuate her more demonic characteristics, presenting her as a figure with sharp claws and wings, often associated with owls, symbols of night and death. In these artifacts, Lilith is often depicted as a figure that blends the human and the bestial, a creature of the night that embodies the fears and dangers of the dark and unknown world that night represented in these ancient cultures. In medical texts of the time, Lilith was believed to be a cause of disease and other ills that afflicted mankind. Her name also appears in incantations and amulets intended to protect against disease and evil spirits. In addition, she has been associated with astronomical phenomena. In some astrological texts of the time, a relationship between Lilith and certain lunar phenomena is suggested, pointing to a possible connection with the moon, and therefore with the world of the dark and mysterious. Delving into the paths of Jewish tradition, we find that the figure of Lilith undergoes a significant transformation. finding its most prominent space in the rabbinic and Kabbalistic texts, where it is consolidated as a complex and enigmatic figure. Lilith has been linked at different times with the biblical narrative, appearing in some texts as the first woman created by God before Eve, being conceived from the same earth as Adam. However, this relationship proves conflicted, and Lilith leaves Eden due to disagreements with Adam, especially regarding equality and autonomy in their relationship.
Adam, long time no see.
Hon, you know her?
Never seen her before.
Once out of paradise, Lilith begins a new phase of her existence, transforming herself into a night spirit, a demonic entity. From this moment on, her figure becomes synonymous with nocturnal fears, the dangers lurking in the dark, and the unexplained death of the newborn. It is believed to be mentioned in biblical Hebrew in the book of Isaiah, and in late antiquity in sources of Mandean and Jewish mythology from 500 AD onwards. She is mentioned in the Babylonian Talmud, in the book of Adam and Eve as Adam's first wife, and in the Zohar she is shown as a fiery woman who cohabited for the first time with man. It is important to note that there are traditional rabbinical authorities who reject the existence of Lilith. In the complex web of rabbinic texts, Lilith acquires multifaceted dimensions, being considered a seductress, a force that embodies free and uncontrolled sexuality. In some texts, demonic children are attributed to her, fruits of her union with other demons or, according to some versions, even with Adam. In the context of Kabbalah, Lilith comes to be seen as the female counterpart of Samael, the archangel, configured as an infernal couple. Samael, whose name is interpreted as God's poison or God's blindness, occupies a prominent place in Talmudic and post-Talmudic tradition as an archangel of considerable importance. Although he is associated with complex and multifaceted roles, including being the accuser, seducer, and destroyer angel. Identified in sacred texts such as the Book of Job and the Book of Exodus, his nature is not entirely evil. While many of his functions resemble the Christian notion of Satan, to the extent that he is sometimes identified as a fallen angel, Samael is not necessarily evil, in that his functions are also considered to result in good, for example, destroying sinners. He is the archangel of strength and will, head of the fifth heaven, and one of the 7 rulers of the world, served by millions of angels. In this period, the iconography associated with Lilith also diversifies and expands, often showing her as an attractive woman who uses her beauty to seduce and deceive. However, more monstrous characteristics are also attributed to her, sometimes adopting hybrid forms of human and animal, an image that incites fear and serves as a warning to those who dare to challenge the established order. Throughout this time, fear of Lilith led to the creation of various amulets and charms intended to protect people from her evil influence, especially pregnant women and newborns. These amulets were believed to have the power to keep Lilith at bay and to preserve the safety and well-being of those under her protection. The trajectory of Lilith in Jewish tradition and rabbinic texts depicts a figure who embodies rebellion, freedom, and the danger involved in defying established norms. The alphabet of Ben Sirach stands as a central work in the mythology surrounding Lilith, providing one of the most detailed and complex descriptions of this character. In the alphabet of Ben Sirach, a medieval Jewish text written between the 8th and 11th centuries, Lilith achieves a leading role, presented as Adam's first wife, created from the same earth and, therefore, his equal. It is here that the narrative of her rebellion is most strongly established, a defiance in the face of Adam's domination and her refusal to subjugate herself to him. In the midst of disputes with Adam over equality, especially during intimacy, Lilith utters the ineffable name of God, thus acquiring the power of flight and fleeing the Garden of Eden. In her flight, she settles on the shores of the Red Sea, a place associated with evil and the abode of demons. The story continues with God's intervention after Adam's insistence that Lilith return. God sends 3 angels, Sanvi, Sansanvi, and Samanjalaf, to negotiate with her. But Lilith, now empowered and enjoying her freedom, refuses to return to Adam. The angels then threaten her with a curse, to which she responds with a threat of her own, initiating a dark pact. Lilith swears that, although 100 of her demonic children would die each day, she would always have power over the neonates, especially the boys, until their 8th day of life, the day of circumcision, and the girls until their 20th day. In return, she is granted a kind of immunity when invoked with certain amulets and talismans bearing the names of the angels who were sent to seek her out. Despite her role as a demonic figure, she is also attributed a protective role, especially when her name is inscribed on amulets, providing protection to the hatchlings against other demons, showing a dual facet, both evil and beneficent. The alphabet of Ben Sirach provides a profoundly rich and contradictory vision of Lilith. Not only is she a figure who embodies rebellion, but she also represents a kind of dark motherhood, connected to both death and protection. Over time, Lilith transcended ancient texts and became a nuanced symbol in culture and art. During the Renaissance and the Age of Romanticism, her figure was depicted in various literary and pictorial works, highlighting her mysterious and sensual nature, as well as her connection to the dark and forbidden. In contemporary times, Lilith has undergone a kind of rehabilitation and has been embraced as a symbol of female empowerment. Her story of resistance and refusal to subordinate herself to Adam has resonated deeply in feminist contexts, seeing in her a prefiguration of the struggle for gender equality and women's rights. Over the centuries, the figure of Lilith has continued to evolve and transform. Today, Lilith embodies an ancient and persistent rebellion against oppressive norms and continues to be a source of inspiration. If you have come this far, like the video and especially suggest me new topics for future videos. For me, it is a great help. See you in a future video.